This is not bullish. You could say maybe bullish here, right? We could rally up to here again, maybe into the test the threes. But until we crack this, I'm expecting everything to rally and then probably fall back. Hey there. Welcome to your daily dose of elephant wisdom. Wednesday, February 23, 2022. All right, some fun price action today. We're seeing a little bit of everything. This is the Bitcoin one-day chart at the moment. And you can see yesterday we kind of touched our orange line here, which I believe we made on the hourly. We'll check on that in a second. But you can see the range we made here. It's basically yesterday's high, right, of 39.5, or 2 days ago high, and then yesterday's low of 36.3. So there's about a $2,000 channel here. And let's go ahead and take a quick look at the 1 hour. See what that looks like more and blown up. Okay, so here was our orange line that we sort of made off our bottom on the 22nd of February here on the hourly. And you can see we started our white channel kind of on that low on February 18. So it's been a little bit, week or so, I guess. Again, this is the hourly, so every candle is just 1 hour. But yeah, so what we're looking at here is we've seen our bottom. This is a longer term support here / resistance. And we rallied kind of up, near the top again. So, and we also see, again, on the hourly, our elephant wisdom baseline here. And again, this white line, as we've mentioned, is very important. Things really need to be above that in order to feel like things can go higher. As long as something is below that line, and now, of course, we got the we've been talking about a lot of the convergence of indicators here. But yeah, we see everything coming down. Again, this is the hourly, so it's kind of hard to see. But for fun, let's check out 15 minutes. And let's see how that's responding. And again, as we mentioned, when you switch time frames, right, that switches your indicators as well. So, this blue line is a 200-day. But if I switch to the 15-minute chart, right, it's going to give me the average of the last 215 minutes. So what's that, 50 hours? So that's basically 2 days. So this is like a 48-hour indicator here, more or less. So that is a good thing right there as short term. You could be trading this. I generally don't trade down in that low time frame. I'll prefer to stick to sort of the hourly if I'm sort of doing daily. But you always want to check those different time frames for confirmation. Because you can see right here as this approaches this white line, a little resistance, I would be expecting again that to fall. So as it has. So we'll see what that looks like. We'll go back to the daily here. I want to take a quick look at the coin we talked about yesterday. The coin of the day was the sandbox. And that actually was a nice short-term trade there that we talked about. We mentioned, again, daily that it was yesterday testing our 200-day, which is historically very strong type of support resistance. And you can see it wedged into our elephant wisdom baseline there. So again, we're pretty much, and the white line again is very powerful. So between these two is where we're at currently at the moment on the sandbox. But more specifically, we did come off the 200, so we talked yesterday this would be a decent long opportunity, short term, and it did bounce off that indicator. So we go back down to the hourly on this. and we'll sort of see that a little bit more live action. And you can see even on the hourly here, we are below indicators, and we're rallying kind of into resistance. So that's why I don't really trust right now a lot of, let's go back to daily here, a lot of this bullish news. And again, it's kind of a lot of cognitive dissonance right now, meaning like your brain is saying one thing, but then evidence is saying something else. So, and what I mean by that is a lot of the on-chain metrics, again, the supply, stablecoin ratio, liquid supply, those are all very bullish. And we're starting to see actually a couple RSI bottoms as well, that could indicate we're here, but it's still with the overall world picture, you know, until you get confirmation right now. And again, we talk about convergence. We are under all the indicators right here. Let me get to a slightly less sloppy chart. Here's Ethereum, same idea. But you can see we're rallying kind of into our white baseline for the most part. These two red lines are the two other parts of our elephant wisdom indicators. This is not bullish. You could say maybe bullish here, right? We could rally up to here again, maybe into the test the threes. But until we crack this, I'm expecting everything to rally and then probably fall back. And again, it'll happen until it doesn't happen. And what I mean by that is, of course, in my macro view, eventually we will climb these indicators, right? We've been below them before. We've rallied above them. So it's no huge deal. But we need confirmation unless you're really trying to do some shorter term trades. So I'm still expecting maybe some things to get tested lower. Again, I know nothing, of course, but here's ETH big picture. We talked about our little bull pennant here. We had a breakout, kind of established a parallel channel, which hopefully in the future will help guide us, at least for some basic starting points. But yeah, you can see that there, the convergence of indicators. Again, all coming to a head here. So really things need to happen pretty quick here for me. They really need to climb these indicators. Here's our total market cap. Again, we're below everything here on the daily. And again, we can zoom out and see a little bit of our wedge here. So similar to Ethereum, we had a little breakout and now we're back down in it. So again, we're looking for a breakout ultimately over our indicators, which will probably be the exact same thing as getting over this resistance line, this red top. So we want to see that. So we're kind of knife catching here. And again, if you're trading right now, you really need to be looking more at the hour or the 15-minute chart to see how are things responding off our indicators and what they look like. And you can see on the 1 hour, right, we bounced right off it. So again, this is not a really bullish situation here until it is, until it flips this and gets on top of it. Now the retest would be bullish, right? But right now when we're testing, that's a bearish signal for the most part. We can see our volume, tough to tell on the 1 hour so much. But overall volume, not horrible, nothing to write home about, but, there's a decent amount of action going on here. You can see a couple attempts to reset our RSI here, which may or may not be, we got to around 20, which is kind of what we like to look for on the daily. So those indicate here a possible bottom signal. But again, with this overall world situation, it's just really tough. It would just be a flyer, meaning you would just be kind of gambling at that point. We'll take a quick look at ADA. ADA was below. It has rallied back above. But again, we talked about this 94-cent level being pretty important. It's right on it right now. You can see it below it. We lost our $2 support, which is fairly decent long term. And I'll just sort of scroll out here a little bit. You can see where this line came from, which is the move up in February. And then it had obviously some good retest here. Again, this blue line we added is our 200-day. So we can see the test off that again. And you can see these indicators are pretty good. Again, indicators are only good as the action around it. So if it's blowing through your lines, that means those aren't the correct lines so much. So we're seeing some pretty good support, but this is pretty scary here, right? Because if we lose here, and we've talked about this, our weekly support, which we actually sort of tested, we talked about that being in the 75-cent mark, and we saw today, right, we went down to 81 cents. So we're not quite in the 70s, so I'm predicting we would touch in the mid upper 70s. Maybe this was it, maybe not. We will see if it tests down further. But you can see again the strength, and again the longer term indicators are more powerful. So this is on the weekly again, very powerful 200-day, and the elephant baseline there. So again, I'm seeing a lot of bullish, I'm seeing a lot of bearish sort of signals, but really what that means is no one has any idea, right? No one knows what's happening. Here's our favorite Telcoin. We're back on the weekly here, but you can see we're back. We are off resistance there. Let's check out how we're doing on the day, and similar. And again, Telcoin's like many. You can see how it's under every single indicator here. But we're holding this channel, so that's positive for the moment, and that's kind of what we want to look for. One of the movers today is NewCipher. This is sort of an encryption project. So both for individuals and business. It's a pretty cool project I've been keeping an eye on. And the one thing I like about this setup, and again, you guys will probably enjoy this. This is one of the more enjoyable daily candles ever, right? Is this puppy right here on October 15. A low of 28 cents and a high of $1.80. And you can see we pushed up farther from that as well. We got to our all-time high here of, where are we? 234. So generally I like to see a little bit more like this being higher longer. You know, this 1 or 2 day wick is a little scary. But what you want to see in any coin, whether it's a NASDAQ, S&P, Dow, crypto, is you like to see a big up, then you see a big valley here where everything is just trending. And then hopefully if this project is good, or if the business is good, then very many times you will see kind of that U formation where we will go from here, dropping down, and then kind of coming back up. Of course, very sloppily, hastily drawn. But basically, the bigger the base here, the bigger the pop we'll get. We'll get that out of the way. So, again, this is a daily. So the longer it consolidates, generally maybe the more ammo it might have. But NewCipher is one I'm looking. And again, oops. Get my stuff together here. And again, this is a good example of the convergence of indicators. So we see the 3 prongs of our elephant trident. We see the 200-day moving average. Everything is right here in that situation. So, you know, if you're trading this, what you'd be looking to do is you'd love it to go up higher here or here like this did. And then that would be a short opportunity because there's so much resistance here. I would be surprised if that would crack on 1 or 2 tries. As you see, it's been trying to for a bit. But this is something to keep an eye on, both as a short opportunity if it continues up, and once it breaks. Again, I do like this project long term. I think it has some use case. You know, encryption on a private or a public blockchain is kind of an important step into the privatization of the crypto. Some independence there. So All right, one last look at Shiba, which I always like to look at, and then, wow, holy convergence here, right? You can see Shiba reacted pretty decently off our pretty quick trend line we just drew the other day. Again, we're daily here, but it held here, and now you can see how it ran into our white baseline, and it also ran right into the 200-day moving average. Let's make that even more graphic. So yeah, that's very anticipated. So you can see that would be an excellent type of short opportunity. But again, you're kind of wedged in here, so it'd be tough to trade. You would look at this on the hourly for sure, and then you'd see what that looks like. And again, you see that right up against resistance. That's a short opportunity. And again, you would have a pretty tight stop loss because in case it does pop. But right now you'd short here. You'd probably have your stop loss maybe up around here somewhere where a previous high. We'll talk about that down the road, but yeah, how to place stop losses. And then you're looking for again to take profit down here if it would revisit back down into the lower 20s again. All right, let's take one quick look at Bitcoin, and we've been talking about candle study. And we talk about bullish candles and bearish candles. And today we'll look at both of these real quick. Just those two candles right there. And what we see here yesterday, right, we talked about this being a bullish candle because price went down and then the buyers said no more. It's not going to let it go lower than there, and they bought that up super quick. Okay. Now what we see here today is almost the opposite, right? So now we see Bitcoin rising this morning. We got up above 39, I believe. And then the sellers were like, nope, we're not going to let this go higher. So they drove it back down to where we are right now. So you can see we were down here and we closed up here yesterday. And then we opened here, we rallied, and then that got bought up super quick. So again, we have a bullish and a bearish kind of engulfing candle. So that means when it sort of shadows the previous day's action in the opposite direction. So it could be a bullish or bearish engulfing candle. This would be bearish because the red is more recent. If this was red and this was green, this would be a bullish engulfing candle. We're expecting the trend to go up a little bit. So again, this is a kind of a bearish wick. The price went up and people didn't like it. They sold the heck out of it, and now we're down all the way back to here. So that's kind of a quick look, a little wick study, and then kind of the Bitcoin summation. So we'll take a look right now. I'm mostly on the sidelines. If anything, I'm looking at shorts right now. I'm not looking to long much just because there's really nothing to long. This next week or two, super important. I think we either get above these indicators and roll in March and April, which that's kind of my theory, or we stay below it and we get really below it. Okay, that'll do it for today. Back at 38.5-ish for Bitcoin, and we'll catch up to you later. Thanks for listening, subscribing, and sharing. And feel free to drop us a line with any coins or any thoughts. We'd love to take a look at anything you'd be interested in. So, all right, this is Mark signing off.